What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode. This is episode 19. Wow. Stock Talk Late Night. Gonna get started in just a second. Oh man. Started in just a second. Remember to hit that like button. I appreciate it. Hit the share button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. If you're watching on the replay, appreciate you tuning in. Gonna get into this stock talk, man. Looking like the stock market is kind of settling down here, which is a good thing, and it's moving how it should move, and not jumping and reacting to every headline, which we know some may change tomorrow. But I kind of like the direction that it's moving in. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll jump into a recap in just a second. Then we'll touch on a few headlines from Yahoo Finance. Then we'll hit a couple of other topics, maybe some hot stocks that the chat may recommend. And I'll talk about two new positions I just started to kind of test out in my Robinhood account. So we'll look at those two towards the end of the live here. So, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in. As always, I'm not a financial advisor, so always do your own research. Don't take my word for it. So let's jump right into it, and people will come in as they may. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see what's going on in the stock market, and we'll start off with the Dow. And we see the Dow here was up today. Big day, up 500 points today. So the Dow is sitting at 43,000. Okay, not bad. So over the last week, see the Dow's up 1%. Did a lot of that today. And year to date, the Dow is in the green, up 1%, up 544 points. So that day today definitely helped it push it positive for the year. So not bad. Over the last year, you see the Dow is up 9%, and over the last 5 years, up 72%. S&P back over 6K, which is where I like it to be. Hoping we was at, pushing towards 7K by now, but, I'm not going to complain at 6K considering where we were not too long ago. So we was up 1% today, up 67 points. Over the last week, up 1%. Year to date, we're sitting at positive 3% for the S&P. Like I said, not where I thought we would be 6 months into the year, but a long way from where we was. As you see here, just a month or so ago, 2 months ago, we was at 4,900. So to be able to bounce back up to 6,000 is a good thing. Over the last year, you see the S&P is up 11%. Over the last 5 years, the S&P is up 102%. So if you're a new investor, not sure where to get started, the very first thing you should be doing is investing in the S&P. And you see the S&P is up 102% over the last 5 years. We're talking VOO, SPY, SP, LG, SPLG, FX, AIX, many different ways you can invest in the S&P 500. And just to see up 102% over the last 5 years, you'll see that, investing in the S&P is the way to go. Not just for new investors, but experienced investors as well. So, if you have a portfolio, you're looking to try to figure out where to start with the S&P 500. Quick, simple, easy. You really, to keep it simple, that's all you really need to be investing in, right? If you want to see your portfolio grow over time, invest in S&P. Let's see. NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was up today, 281 points over last week, 285. A lot of that came from the day. Year to date, the NASDAQ is also green, 3%. And you see how low we got around the same time. We was down at 15K. So to see it back up to 19K, pretty positive. Pretty positive. I'm not going to complain too much over that. Over the last year, see the NASDAQ up 13%, and over the last 5 years, up 104%. So we see the S&P was up, 102% over the last 5 years. NASDAQ up 104%. So building out a long-term portfolio, S&P, NASDAQ. There you go. There you go. That solves a lot of investing questions right there of what you should invest in. Invest in the S&P, invest in the NASDAQ, and you will be in good shape. So some NASDAQ positions, ETFs like QQQ, QQQM is also another one that's kind of taken off as well. So I have both. I definitely do like QQQM, and looking to build and grow that portfolio over time. So yeah, that's just a recap, man. Recap of the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the stock market, and looking pretty good right now. Looking pretty good. I like the bounce back. I like how we're moving right now. So, we'll see if we can keep going in the right direction. Like I said, man, just seeing the stock market not overreact to some news that comes out, especially to the downside, is a positive thing. I think the market is kind of getting tired, right? Oh, it's getting tired to go down on some of this or go up on this. We know the market's going to go up over time. Just stay consistent and investing in good companies and let that play out. And that's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I look forward to when I'm investing, especially for the long term. Invest in solid companies and let it do what it's supposed to do. So I'm excited to see the S&P back over 6K. I'm excited to see the NASDAQ getting back close to 20K. I hope people was able to, add to their portfolios while the market was down. But, the stock market is meant to go up. For everybody that's wishing it to go down, that's cool to have some pullbacks. Pullbacks are part of the game. But if you're not messing something up, the stock market is going to go up over time. So, that's what's going to make our portfolios grow. But it's good to buy during pullbacks. I'm not, I've been consistently buying as well. So, but it gives me more confidence to see the market, start to recover and start, not overreacting to every little thing that goes on, with the government or from the White House or overseas or whatever the case may be. So that may change tomorrow, but I'll take it for the day. So let's look at a couple of headlines here from Yahoo Finance. Hopefully I don't keep you guys too long tonight. And let's see what's going on here. What's up, Lisa? See you in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in, as always. Let's see what's going on in some headlines. And as you see, Wall Street bulls call for another 10% rally in S&P 500 by the end of 2025. So like I say, man, I think everybody who's investing should be have some exposure to the S&P 500. All that meme stuff and trying to find a hot stock and a hot pick. You should be in the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 is back within a 1 percentage point of all-time high. One of Wall Street's notorious bulls believes the benchmark index has plenty further to run this year. So BMO Capital Markets chief investment strategist Brian Belsky boosted his year-end target to 6,700 from a prior forecast of 6,100. So Belsky had previously reduced his forecast amid the tariff turmoil that tanked the markets back in April, which we just saw. So we've seen a lot of pullback on the tariff talk, which I think is a good thing. I think they knew that some adjustments had to be made. So just like this gentleman stating, his prior forecast was 6,100. He's now boosted up to 6,700 for the S&P. Like I said, I'm hoping it, for it to get over 7K, but at least 6,700 is a step in the right direction. You see, but now with the market's largest tariff fears believed by strategists to be behind investors, Belsky detailed a more sanguine outlook in a note sent to clients on Tuesday entitled "Same as It Ever Was." So, basically they think that the market has some room to grow, and we'll see how these quarterly earnings are going to come out, which what is the second quarter ends June 30th. I think that's going to have a lot of telltale of what's going to happen in the second half of the year. I'm kind of excited myself to see how some of these second quarter earnings are going to go, and see what their those numbers have posted for the past few months. So what else we got going on here? Let's talk a little bit about oil prices, man. I've seen a little increase at the pump. Been a little increase at the pump the last couple of days, so I'm hoping that it doesn't get too crazy. Let me see. I'm trying to get on this article here, but Yahoo Finance is all over the place sometimes. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let me be. I don't think it wants to let me click on the article. But basically, I looked at it earlier, and it talked about oil creeping up in this prices here. Let me see if I can jump in here real quick. Then we'll get back over to it. I don't know if you guys are noticing a little jump at the pump. I've seen it today. Here in Georgia, we've been consistently under $3. I've seen some 260s, 270s, 280s. Today, however, I saw that there was some creeping up in the 290s, and a lot of stuff happened. That Middle East conflict, man, it can spill over to what we have going on over here, of course. And let's see here if we can pull it up here. And see, oil prices edged higher on Wednesdays, finding some respite after plummeting in the last two sessions as investors assess the stability of the ceasefire between Iran and Israel. You see the Brent crude futures rose 75 cents or 1.1% to 67.89 a barrel. U.S. West Texas crude gained 71 cents to 65.08. And it said Brent settled on Tuesday at its lowest price since June 10th. And WTI since June 5th, both before Israel launched a surprise attack on key Iranian military and nuclear facilities on June 13th. So prices had rallied to 5-month highs after the U.S. attacked Iran's nuclear facility over the weekend. So, we had a ceasefire going on, supposedly. There's some information out there about how much damage that the airstrikes actually did to the Iran nuclear sites. That remains to be seen. But you see here, U.S. airstrikes did not destroy Iran's nuclear capability and only set it back by a few months, according to a preliminary U.S. intelligence assessment, as a shaky ceasefire brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump took hold between Iran and Israel. Early on Tuesday, both Iran and Israel signaled that the air war between the two nations had ended, at least for now, after Trump publicly scolded them for violating the ceasefire. As the two countries lifted civilian restrictions after 12 days of war, which the U.S. joined with an attack on Iran's uranium enrichment facilities, each sought to claim victory. So, as you see, this Middle East stuff, man, it's kind of spilling over to, with the oil prices. So hopefully they can get that under control. Hopefully the ceasefire kind of stays intact and we don't really have too many issues going forward. with the oil, and hopefully those prices can kind of come back down. It's not really spiked crazy yet, but I've seen a little rise at the pump here in Georgia lately. So, and the last little thing with the headlines I want to touch on is, let me see here. This is kind of segue into our little hot stocks talk. Let's see. Let's talk about one of the reliables, right? Nvidia stock jumps to highest level since January with record high within reach. So Nvidia stock jumped 2.6% Tuesday to $147.90 per share, ending the trading session at its highest level since its record close in January. Nvidia notched the record closing at 149.43 on January 6th. So the AI chipmaker stock has undergone a significant turnaround, blowing its first quarter earnings. Significant turnaround following its first quarter earnings in late May, which featured revenue that beat Wall Street's expectations and showed that the company continued to thrive despite a new export ban on sales of its chips to one of its largest markets, China. So Nvidia stock has crept back up. I remember when it took a big fall in earlier this year. Let's take a look at Nvidia stock here. See if I can pull it up over here. And see here. So we see here Nvidia is at 147.90, up today 2.59% and up 3%. Up 3 points today, up 2.59%. Over the last week, you see it's up 2%. Over the last month, Nvidia is up 9%. Bouncing back, definitely up 12 points. And year to date, you see the stock is up 10%, up 13 points year to date. And you see it hit some April lows, getting all the way down under $100. So, man, that's crazy. So that's a nice bounce back in the last 2 months. So how many? I wondered if anybody was able to take advantage of Nvidia while it was trading that low. Lisa, have you been consistently investing in Nvidia during this time while the prices were low? Because this is, man, definitely a nice bounce back. I know one of my friends took a position, I think maybe at 105 or something like that, and it's ran up and then it came back down. Now it's running up again. So I wonder, how far will it go? I've been buying Nvidia a little bit at a time, not much. I don't have a lot of shares of Nvidia. I do have some SMH, but not a lot of Nvidia. So yeah, no, okay, I got you. So yeah, kind of like me, right? I haven't been buying it crazy like that. I'm so heavily invested in tech and stuff like that, man. I don't get too excited about those stocks like that anymore. But Nvidia is definitely bouncing back for sure. But like I said, at one time I had Nvidia, I had AMD, SMH. What else did I have? I think those were the main ones. But I still have my Nvidia position. I still have my SMH position. So I'm gonna roll with those two as far as the chip makers and see how that go. I probably should have kept my AMD position, but I used it to purchase something else. So, but yeah, man, the SMH has done quite well for me, and my Nvidia position has done quite well since the stock is bouncing back. So I just got to come up with a plan to maybe buy a little more here and there. I probably buy a little bit, maybe once a month in Nvidia. So don't own a lot of shares. I do have some in my account. I do have some in my son's account, but nothing that's going to make me rich or anything like that. Just a couple of shares. So maybe I'll come up with a plan for it down the road, but for right now, definitely not. So Let's see. Let's see what else. What are some other hot stocks uh, jumping out lately? Well, Lisa, you got any hot stocks that you've been investing in? I know one that's been talked about a lot is hymns. Are you invested in hymns? I saw an article or a post somewhere today saying that hymns could go back up to $70 soon or go to 70 soon. I'm not sure, but I know this particular stock has popped up quite a bit here lately. So let's see, is anyone invested in hymns? Anybody that may come later on. Him sitting at 42.95 over the last week, down 25%. So I see why people say, hey, is this a good time to enter into him? It's been beat down just over the last week. And man, whew, down 14 points. Over the last month, down 19%. But over the last 6 months, up 52%. Year to date, up 77% year to date. Man, that's crazy. So I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was like a swing trader, I would probably jump in on this position right now because it's doing what it does. It's swinging, right? And this would probably be a good entry price, but my mind is not set up to be a swing trader, so I don't think I'll be investing in him right now. Man, that's. Let's see what else is hot off the press today. Reliable gold. Gold was down today 1% over the last week, down 2%. I do have a small gold position. Over the last 6 months, gold is up 26%, and year to date up 26% year to date. Gold, EFT, GLD. Man, 26%, not bad, not bad. I wish I had kept my silver position. I'm actually looking to get back in it. Down today, over the last week or so. Down over the last 6 months, though, up 20%. And which is probably going to be the same thing. Yeah, up 23% year to date. That's silver, SLV. Man, I should have kept that in my in one of my accounts, but I didn't. So, but definitely, I still have gold. Gold is doing quite well for me. Doing quite well. So, any other hot stocks, let me know. I'm not looking into really any major pushes, as I kind of focus my attention on income right now, because I'm still heavily weighted in tech, the Apple, Google, the Amazon. I talk about that all the time. So still just trying to, balance that out with more income, S&P, stuff like that. So nothing crazy on my table as far as what I've added. I want to talk about 2 new positions I did start on my Robinhood account. Kind of speculative, so it's just something from my portfolio, but I'll talk about that in a second. But cover calls, I'm talking about income. Over the last 2 days, made a quick $500 in cover call income, and it's just it's just kind of my new thing right now as far as creating more income. So Apple yesterday was up at the time, so I was able to secure a cover call, basically rolled over a cover call that I already had, picked up a quick $130 there. And then today, Google was up, Amazon was up, so I was able to roll a couple of cover calls and picked up a quick $400 today. So just in 2 days, it's a quick $500 for income on my cover calls. So it's just it's just another another like I said, notch in the belt that you can use the stock market. Man, I'm glad. I'm just saying, I'm glad. I don't sound excited, but I'm super excited that I've been learning these cover calls because it's kind of been a lifesaver for what I'm trying to do. So, man, Lisa said I've been working on my Microsoft. I'm leading the challenge right now. 6 weeks to go. What's the challenge? What's the challenge? What are we doing with Microsoft? How much are we investing? Because I need to pick up my Microsoft position as well. I have about 15 shares, but I've been sitting on that 15 shares for a long time. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I just been building it up slowly. So definitely. What's the challenge? Are you doing every day, every week? $10, $15, 20, 25, 100? What's your goal with the Microsoft challenge? That's what's up, man. I hope Microsoft just decide, hey, we're going to split one day, but it's all good. Microsoft is one of those steady positions that I don't think you can go wrong with. Microsoft. I'm gonna check my account here just to see how far I'm up on my Microsoft position. Let's see here. $10 daily. Man, Lisa be killing it with those daily challenges for real. I haven't got brave enough for a daily challenge. I think Bitcoin I was doing like $1 a day at one point. Let me look at my Microsoft position. I actually have that in my Roth, I believe. And yep. And yeah, I currently have 15.236 shares of Microsoft. I am up 120% on the position though. So I have a cost basis of $222.65. Microsoft is trading at $490.11. It was up $4 today. Wow. So my Microsoft position has done really well. Up 120% on that position is actually like my best performing position in my Roth portfolio right now. So, man. So yeah, Amazon is right there. Amazon is right. Microsoft is right there with the Amazons, the Googles, the Apples. Like if you're looking for that solid tech stock, man, Microsoft is something you should have in your portfolio. It's done really well for me, since I had it. So you say you have 2 shares. Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. So the challenge definitely builds it up. That's kind of how I am with my 2.59. That's kind of how I am with my VTI. My VTI, I think I have like 5 shares of VTI, but I've been slowly building it up. $10 a week right now. And I think this time last year, I probably had 3 shares. So I'm at 5 shares now, closing in on 6 shares. So it's just, it's a slow build, but it is a build. So all right, we'll look at that. We'll look at that in a minute because I'm not going to be on here too long tonight, but I do want to look quickly at my Robinhood account because I did open 2 new positions, but I'm going to go through my Robinhood account, then we're going to shut it down tonight. And let's see here. Let's see. Let's see with the trusty Robinhood portfolio, which is a public portfolio I do show. Let's see. And it has crypto in it, so it is active. And as you see here, we've had a good day. We're up 1.36% today. Currently sitting at 7,600. We've almost rebounded over the last week. Yep, over the last week we were up 0.40%. Over the last month, down slightly. Over the last 3 months, we're up 5% the last 3 months, so not bad. So you see, we're recovering. We're recovering. And year to date, we're still down 4%. So I was hoping to have this account over 8,000 by now, but we got to roll with the market, right? So we got to roll with the market, but not bad. We're still doing pretty good with it. You see our Bitcoin, Ethereum, those positions, which I show all the time. And recently, let me see. Have my ET positions. I did get rid of my leap option in ET because wasn't moving. I was down. I probably should have cut my losses. So I think I was down 20%, 30% or something like that. So I probably should have cut my losses, but it's actually a 2020. It was a 2027 call. So I had plenty of time, but I wanted to do something else with it. And I may jump back in that call later on. So, let me see here. You see our VTI position, we're at 5.42 shares. Our QQQM, we had 4.84 shares. Main, we're at 19 shares. I do want to talk a little bit about two new positions that I started today. Kind of speculative, but there is two positions that I am testing out. They are METW and BRKW. So these are some round hill new positions that was just started. They are weekly paying ETFs, right? Weekly paying ETFs that I wanted to add to the portfolio. I wanted to test them out to see what the weekly income would be. Starting out with one share. I didn't like how Robinhood did this because one of the things I like about Robinhood is they let you buy partial, but they wouldn't let me buy partial shares. I had to actually buy a full share. I wanted to buy more than one share actually, but I didn't have enough for 2 shares of each. So I bought partial shares of each. These are new positions. I'm talking about hot off the press, just came out within the last week. But they will be paying weekly, so I want to track them. I want to track them to see how they're going to work, right? So METW we bought today, and you see it's the Round Hill Meta weekly pay ETF. And we bought it today. We down 21 cents on the share price, so I'm not really worried about that right now. But I want to see what the payout's going to be. I did put my drip on, so I want to see how that's going to drip each week. And then our next one we purchased was BRK. BRKW. Yeah. So, and it's the Round Hill BRKB weekly pay ETF. We bought that today, 1 share. We are up 75 cents on a position, but this is a position that's going to pay us weekly. So we want to see how that's going to pay out. So we're just doing a test right now just to see how it's going to work. So we bought 1 share of each for the Robinhood portfolio just to test out to see if it's a position that we want to build up over time. So this is the Round Hill BRKB weekly pay ETF. So you see the Meta and the BRKB, they're both weekly paying ETFs. We got 1 share of each. I just wanted to add that to my Robinhood portfolio, and we're gonna just keep an eye on it. We're gonna watch it and see how the dividends pay out each week, and we're going to see if it's going to be worth adding more funds to it. So, I talk a lot about income, so I want you to go with me on this journey, right? Starting from scratch with these 2 weekly paying ETF. I have other weekly payers in my Fidelity account, but I want you to see it firsthand, starting out, how these weekly paying ETFs are going to perform. And, because I think that, these dividend income producing positions are not just like a fad, right? They're starting to become more and more popular and more opportunities to invest in dividend paying positions. So, not telling you to do it. Always build your portfolio out. Like even with this portfolio, you see, I have the total stock market, I have tech with QQQM, I have income with Maine, I have energy with ET. So as the portfolio is already built out how I need it to be built out. So then that's when I take a smaller portion and maybe try something speculative. It's income really, and I'm just going to test it out to see how it performs to let me know if I can build a bigger position in these two positions. So right now, just one share of each. And Fidelity, Robinhood wouldn't let me buy partial shares, so I can only get a share of each right now. So we'll see how it goes. Basically, I took the ET leap option off the table for right now, and I use it to buy these two positions here. So we're going to see how that's going to perform, and I'll keep you guys updated on tracking that progress. So, but yeah, we'll be at 36 minutes in, so that's pretty much, man, what I want to touch on. It's a late Tuesday night, not going to be on here too long. Just wanted to, dive into the market a little bit because the market's been doing well. Like I said, it's not overreacting to everything is going on. Well, overreacting in a negative way. So, maybe it's kind of mellowing out. Maybe it's kind of getting a little tired of the antics, and it's going to say, hey, we're going to do what we're supposed to do, which is what I like, and that's the importance of building solid portfolios. So when the market is ready to make the run, which it's designed to do, that you're going to feel the impact of a positive stock market. If you're a trader, if you like buying puts and stuff like that, you like when the market goes down, or if you like adding to your shares, that's cool too. I like adding to my shares too when the market goes down. I've been still adding to my Googles and Amazons and all the other positions, that I can, that my budget allows me to do when the market goes down. So, but I like it when the market goes up. That's just my personal opinion. So, and like I said, the S&P being back over 6K, the NASDAQ approaching 20K. I'm just hoping no crazy news comes out. We're about to finish up second quarter. So you're going to see second quarter earnings start popping off in the next 2 weeks or so. And, that's going to give us a direction of how we're going to head into the second half of the year. And you see some analysts are predicting the S&P can still go up, by, a 20% move before year's end. So you want to be prepared. You want to have your portfolios in order to be ready when that market goes up. And if nothing else, you can be invested in the S&P. Nothing wrong with being invested in VOO, SPY, SPYG, SPYLG. Have different levels of the SPY that you can invest in. VOO for sure. So get your portfolio together, because this is why we invest. We want to see our money growing over time, and that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So nothing else. Invest in the S&P, invest in the NASDAQ. Find you some income, and hey, do what you can. $5 a week, $10 a week adds up. $5 a day, $10 a day, it all adds up. So make a plan. You should have it in your budget to be investing in the stock market one way or another. It's a way that the average person like me and you can grow our wealth over a period of time. Stock market, real estate, things like that. We should be investing in, especially the stock market. There's no barrier to entry. There's no reason why you can't invest in the stock market. There's really no excuse why you shouldn't be invested. You can't say it's for the rich. You can't say it's for this, that, and the other person. Like, it takes 5 minutes to open up an account. I opened up a Fidelity account in like 2 minutes. 2 minutes I had an account open. So it's not really an excuse where you can't invest, and then you put $10 in and you buy something and you invest it in the market. You buy BOO, you buy SPYG or SPLG, And look, you're invested in the stock market like everybody else, and then from there you start developing a plan to increase your investments. So I'm not gonna lie, I pushed myself to the limit. I said I put out a poll about investing, 5%, 10%, or 20% or more of your income, including my 401k. I've always invested more than 20% of my income. And sometimes I'd be, down to my last as far as disposable income, but I know I'm invested. I know I'm invested in myself first. I'll find a way to pay the bills. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to invest in the stock market, and I can only imagine where I would be had I not invested, learn how to invest, and consistently invested over these last few years. It you don't know what can happen on a job. You don't know what can happen, right? So 401ks, IRAs, your regular taxable brokerage accounts, you should be investing in those, even in your savings, right? Even an emergency fund. Like you should be putting money to the side, um, many different ways. Out of that dollar, 20 cent, 30 cent should be invested. Out of each dollar, 20 to 30 cent should be invested, no less than 15%, definitely 10%. If you can't do nothing else, 5%. Something needs to be invested. If you got a dollar coming in and a dollar going out, then you're going to be in the rat race forever. So I'm on a countdown, man. I'm looking for five more years clocking into somebody else's job, and then I could be ready to go. And with these cover calls, man, and with his income every month, it could be a little bit quicker than that. But that's up to me. That's up to me. So it's about how bad I want it, and to make it happen. So that's what I'm focused on doing. So, but yeah, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I've talked ramble long enough. Um, Appreciate you tuning in, Lisa, as always. Anybody that comes and watch on the replay, I appreciate you guys for watching. And look out for some videos this week. And until then, I will talk to you later.